Hey everybody, welcome to episode 3 of CCFR Radio on the Air. I'm your host, Rod Giltaca. Thanks for joining me again. Today on the show, we've got an action-packed one for you. Apparently, the government of Canada has decided they're going to rip off the vast majority of licensed gun owners that participate in the compensation program. And that has to do with the number of firearms that are in circulation that were previously non-restricted that are now prohibited. And the difference between those numbers. The government has decided they're only going to pay for a handful of them, and you won't find out until you tell them what you have first. Very interesting. We're going to have a good friend of mine on, Miguel Gozano from Valley Combat and Tactical in Abbotsford today to help discuss how we know how many firearms there are in circulation, also what the bans have done to his small business in Abbotsford. And of course, we're going to have Wilson on to talk about her attendance at the rally in Cape Breton to raise awareness about the government's compensation program, or confiscation program, as we like to call it. They have a pilot project that's rolling out in Cape Breton, and there's a lot of things happen that will really shock you. Anyway, all that and more, CCFR Radio starts right now.
CCFR Radio on the Air is brought to you by Wild TV Plus, the best hunting, fishing, and outdoor content available anywhere, anytime, on any device. Visit wildtvplus.ca.
All right, we are back. So I don't have a lot of time to talk right now because some of the other segments went long. So this leaves me only 3 minutes, and I have some things that are important to share with you. So number one, just the other day, we had some of the folks from Mission Rod and Gun Club stop by the studio here in Chilliwack, British Columbia, from Mission, British Columbia, and dropped off a $14,000 check to help the CCFR continue to fight the government for what it's doing to licensed gun owners, for smashing licensed gun owners over the head. So really appreciate the help. Great group down there. We have so much help from organizations and individuals and gun clubs and some gun stores and whatever. And I'm not ready to stop fighting, punching the government in the face for what they're doing to us. And a lot of people are still supporting us. So for that, I just want to say thank you. I don't get to see everything that comes in, but I saw that one. So that's the reason why I'm mentioning it. So thank you to everyone who's helping us continue fighting. All right. Now, important information about what's coming up. So you may remember that the government, during the technical briefing that Wilson and I and our general counsel attended, that was put on by Public Safety about this compensation/confiscation program, the government revealed some numbers to us. If you remember, I think in the last episode, and we'll probably talk about this more in the next episode, they revealed that basically they're going to rip the overwhelming majority of gun owners off that reveal to the government what they have in this compensation program. Right? They told us that, knowing full well we were going to tell you that. So I don't know what the incentive there is, but that's what's going on. So what we found, so some updated information, we believe that a good estimate for firearms that were previously non-restricted, that are now prohibited, that the government knows that are out there. See, they said they're going to buy back, the non-restricted ones are going to buy back another like 20,000 of them across the entire country. We believe, based on figures that we've gotten, that there is between 1 and over 2 million of these such firearms in circulation right now. So the government intends, if everyone participated, to rip off like 90 to 99%, basically, of gun owners after they tell you what they have. Interesting. I'm going to talk more about this in the next episode because I don't have a lot of time here. So we did this calculation. I talked to a number of gun stores, and I talk about this in the segment that's coming up with my good friend, longtime friend, Miguel Gozano from Abbotsford, British Columbia, from Valley Combat and Tactical, tiny little gun store in Abbotsford. But we did this calculation, and he was one of the people that I talked to figure out how many of these guns are in circulation. And also, when Miguel came by the studio, so this was a few days ago that I recorded this, he also talked a little bit about what these gun bans did to him and his business. And even though he's so small, such a small, Canadian-owned business, it just speaks to the larger picture of what the government really is doing. And then, of course, it raises the question, what is it they're trying to do? And how can they ever justify any of this is about public safety? So anyway, all right, I'm out of time for this segment. Miguel's interview is coming up, and after that, we'll bring on Tracey Wilson from the CCFR. So stick with me. So we've known each other for a long time.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long is it? 30?
It's really close to 30, give or take.
No, it's more than 30. We met when we were 20.
Oh, 35?
Yeah. Well, yeah, 30, 36 years, something like that.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
We had long hair.
Yeah. I'm just going to leave the hair. The hair
Say
comment.
man.
All right. So we're really talking about two questions today. We were talking on the phone about the buyback, so-called buyback, this
Yeah,
confiscation
yeah.
scheme. And the reason I had called you was I was trying to figure out how many firearms there are in Canada in circulation that were previously non-restricted that are now prohibited. So I called a big gun store.
Yeah.
I called the industry group as well, and a big gun store, a medium-sized gun store. And so tell me a little bit about your store in Abbotsford, British Columbia, Valley Combat and Tactical, for
That's
those
me.
for those who are wondering where it
Yeah.
is, and just tell me about the size of business you have.
We're small. I would argue that I'm the smallest gun store in Canada. We're maybe 900 square feet if you include the bathroom. On a thriving economy, before everything was banned, we'd have anywhere from 10 to 15 guns on the wall and lots of everything. But since everything and where we are now, I think I've got 5 guns on the wall.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 10 to 15 guns on the wall in the peak times. Now, the question that I asked you was, like, how long have you been in business again?
18 and a half years.
18 and a half years. In that 18 and a half years, how many guns do you think that you've sold that were non-restricted that are now prohibited? If you just had to take a wild
I
guess.
would guess anywhere from 300 up.
So 300-400.
300-400 maybe. Yeah.
So
Like,
probably
that list is, I mean, shotguns, 22s, my own kid's gun. Like, man, yeah.
yeah. So
300 to 400.
self-proclaimed smallest gun store
Yeah.
in the country, 300 or 400. Now, the reason why we were talking about that is the government said, "Oh, we are prepared to buy 152,000
Yeah.
firearms, and there are 500 gun stores in Canada."
Yeah.
And the smallest one has probably sold 300 to 400 of those guns. So
Yeah.
we came up with the number somewhere between 1 and 2 million of these guns in circulation. So basically, if we said 1.5 million, the government's willing to pay for 10% of the guns out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Plus whatever's in stock at the stores that hasn't gone yet.
Yeah. So far they bought 12,000 from retail. And actually, you know what? We didn't talk about this, but that 12,000 is an interesting number because
Yeah.
that's the number of guns when they just did the spot ban. That's how many were in stock.
That people have, that they know, because I haven't told them what I've got. They know, but it's not reported because I haven't asked them for money because I don't think I'm
Okay.
going to get anything.
Right. But that's an interesting number right
Yeah.
there. That's
Oh, yeah.
10% of all the guns in the country they're going to buy
Oh,
were
it's-
what just stores had at stock right at that moment.
Terrible math.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, just very interesting. Now, when we were talking about this, you talked about your business a little bit. Why don't you share that with
Just
everyone?
what happened there. Yeah. So obviously 2000 and the first ban 7 years ago, is it now?
It's 5.5 years ago.
5.5. So that obviously was a huge punch in the gut because we're not a hunting store. I can get hunting stuff, but I'm a black gun store, and they started banning black guns. So they just started chipping away. And then I thought, over the last couple of years after COVID, that survived, one of the few businesses that survived COVID. And I thought, well, I'm floating now. I'm getting by. I can live. And then December last year, they banned everything I had on my wall. 3 weeks before Christmas, they took my stock away from me.
And that's really the only time where you're really
That's
making
it.
some money.
Yeah, Christmas is like, yes, okay, I get to make another year of work. They took everything I had off the wall. They banned it all, so I took it all down. I took what little savings I had left, and it wasn't a lot. And I dumped it into new stock. And 3 weeks later, they banned all that stock. So it's an interesting time to go to work every day and try and sell the 5 guns I have left against the big box store that's 3 blocks away that has money and options.
And I think one thing that people forget are the kinds of guns that they banned, right? Because I'm constantly facing off with Policysivia and the rest of these people, these anti-gun groups,
Silly
and the government.
gooses.
Yeah, the silly gooses.
Yeah.
And they're saying these, and they don't even say assault style. They call them all assault weapons and weapons of war and all the rest of that stuff. So why don't we just back and forth a couple of guns? So GSG 16 was the one I always like to say.
16s, 15s.
Weapon of war.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of the footage on Al Jazeera of them using those to shoot at tanks.
Yeah. The Ruger PC carbine.
Yeah. The folding Smith & Wesson, FP9, all the little plinkers, basically all the camping guns, the fun little camping guns.
Mm-hmm.
That was the last, that was December. That's when it was just like the hobby guns, like you get your license.
2000, yeah.
Yeah, you get your license, like the affordable, cheap first. I can get my first little plinker and I can go camping with my buddies and shoot cans. No, you can't.
Yep.
Not anymore.
Dangerous dome.
Yeah.
What I will say, just before we wrap it up, because we're running out of time, is if you are in Abbotsford, British Columbia, and you need, what kind of stuff do you sell there?
Everything. I've got it all. I've got paintball and airsoft and pellet and BB. I've got crossbows. I've got
funny t-shirts.
I've got t-shirts. We do custom t-shirts, decals, semi-offensive, I call them, because, everyone's offended by everything.
Yeah.
Survival stuff, outdoor
Knives.
stuff. Yep. Knives, hatchets, axes, training gear,
Awesome.
martial artsy stuff, camouflage, everything, a little bit of everything.
Cool. So that's Valley Combat and Tactical in
Yes, sir.
Abbotsford, British Columbia on South Fraser Way, right off McCallum, right?
Yeah, right near Five Corners in Abbotsford.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you telling the story and coming out, man.
Thanks for having me here, man.
All right, we are back and via the internet. We've got Tracey Wilson of the CCFR. Wilson!
Yeah, I missed you last time when I was off sick.
Well,
Although I'm not really better, but I'm here.
you recently went to a rally that was held in Cape Breton, Nova Scotia, that was basically drawing attention to the fact that the Liberals have started their confiscation program with a pilot project in Cape Breton.
Yeah, that's right. I joined an incredible group of people out in beautiful Cape Breton. It's just a little island attached to Nova Scotia. But Jeff McNeil from the Port Morion Wildlife Association organized this together with Mike Kelly from the Metro Rifle and Pistol Club. We had a whole bunch of kind of VIP people there. We had Anna Manley. She's the Conservative candidate for Sydney Glace Bay, which is that riding where we were. Member of Parliament Blaine Culkins, as you know, he's the chair for the Conservative Hunting and Angling Caucus, and also Shadow Minister for Hunting, Fishing and Conservation. MP Carol Ansey, who's awesome, from Newfoundland, from Long Range Mountain in Newfoundland. She came out. And very importantly, Devin Drover, General Counsel for the Canadian Taxpayer Federation. We were joined by about 250 Capers, which is the proper term for Cape Bretoners. We rallied on the lawn of the Cape Breton Regional Police Headquarters. And this was really important because Cape Breton was chosen as the first place to start a pilot project for the gun grab. The police chief who unilaterally made this decision without consulting his officers is brother-in-law with the Liberal member of Parliament for the area, Mike Kellaway, whose office is right across the road. And there we were, a bunch of peaceful people with our signs. People were honking as they drove by. Everything was going great. We had people with garbage bag picking up if anyone dropped a Kleenex or a water bottle or anything. And we kept it clean and peaceful. But interestingly enough, the Cape Breton Regional Police Headquarters was closed to the public that day. They hired an outside security officers, like security guards, to guard the police, which is kind of weird because you're the cops. They had a drone in the air the entire time. This event went from 12 noon until 5 p.m. The entire time we had a drone in the air. And there was a tactical team parked across the street at Mike Kellaway's office, the Liberal MP. So it was just like, I was like, wow, this is all for us. You know, talk about overreaction.
Yeah, well, it's it's this histrionic, hair on fire behavior that I'm personally, I'm very tired of it. But it's almost like they want to connect, I don't know, some unruly mob or criminals with licensed gun owners that get a criminal background check every day that live in Cape Breton that would show up in front of the police station to say, hey, we don't think that you should be involved in this because it's immoral, it's wrong, it's expensive, it's a waste of money, there are other things to deal with. And then the police and or the government start using the tools on those people that they would use for some mob that they were scared that were going to either attack the Liberal MP across Australia, like a tactical team, man, drones, shutting down the police department. Like what, I don't know. I don't like the connotation there. And it just, it really it just really makes them look really pathetic and wasteful for the resources they say are in short supply.
Yeah, well, there are, I was talking to Jeff McNeil this morning and he's filed some ATIPs. So those are in the works. So we're going to find out how much money they spent to protect them from the legal licensed firearms owners who didn't even bother them and didn't cause any ruckus and left the place tidy and neat afterwards. And we ended it right at 5 o'clock. So the security guards could finish their shift. We'll see what they spent on that, but just really interesting thing. But I'm at the end of the day, I'm super grateful to everybody that showed up, to the organizers, to everyone who gave up their day. This was during the week, so very difficult and in a very small area. But we did not see the Liberal MP there.
For obvious reasons. Really quickly, just before we move on to the last thing, is the labor union for the Cape Breton police are upset that they are even being involved in this. Just give us like 15 seconds on that.
Yeah, so they put out a statement on social media the day of the protest or the rally, saying that their members, the officers from the Cape Breton Regional Police were not consulted and were not even informed that they had been signed up to help the Liberals with this gun grab. And the word on the street in Cape Breton is that the chief himself will be facing a non-confidence vote from his members. I can't confirm it, but I sure would support it. So we'll see.
Yeah, well deserved. We didn't plan to talk about this now, but I think we should just quickly mention this because I think the rest of the things that we're going to cover would be better off in the last segment. But the Liberals defeated the Conservative bail reform bill, despite their concerns about public safety.
Yeah, that's right. So part of their election promise was bail reform. Conservatives have been waiting for it. Nothing's happened. So they put forward their own Bill C-242, which was defeated in a vote of 142 to 196 yesterday in the House of Commons. So when they talk about their priorities are 100% to be picking on Fish and Game Club members like you and I, instead of focusing on repeat violent offenders, rapists, and armed home invaders. So I think all Canadians should be concerned about that.
Yep. And they've got a bill, a censorship bill. They have a cut you off the internet without any warrant or any actual reason bill. They have the hate speech bill. They have the gun buyback rollout confiscation program. But bail reform to increase public safety, absolutely not. Voted against it, all of them, including the NDP and the Bloc. So anyway, just important to know. All right, we're out of time for this segment, but you're going to be accompanying me into the outro. So stick with us. All right, we are back. Now, I'm guilty of unintentionally spreading misinformation. I said that Wilson would be joining me in the outro, but unfortunately I had to let her go to deal with something urgent. The two of us run around like chickens with our heads cut off every day, right? So anyway, you're just going to have to ride out this last couple of minutes, about 2.5 minutes with me. But what Tracey and I were talking about, and we wanted to share this with you on, in the outro on the show, basically, was, it's been a really rocky 6 months, obviously. And I mean, to be honest with you, I'm kind of just bearing my soul a little bit. Emotionally, it's just been a roller coaster right after the election. It's like, what am I even doing here? The whole thing, is there anything left to do? And because I figured this government would go probably 3 years. Man, it does not look like that anymore. And I thought, oh, they're just going to sweep their way right through this buyback. And it's, the media will hail it as a success, no matter how bad it is. The media will go along. Man, that is not the way it's looking either. And I'm going to tell you why. I got to be quick. We've been dealing with the media for a long time, mainstream media. We deal with them all the time, and we deal with them, been doing it for 11 years. And they're super fickle. Sometimes we'll float stories like this, like they plan to rip off 90 to 99% of gun owners, and not a handful of people, like hundreds of thousands of people, for literal billions of dollars worth of property. And you know what? The media, they're like, oh, yeah, this is not a story. I'm like, what? But yet the leaked audio where the liberals demonstrated that they're willing to tell the truth when they think nobody's listening. That story had legs, man. It went for 2 weeks in the news cycle. Usually something like that would be, I don't know, a day and a half, 2.5 days, maybe. But it's done a lot of damage. And the fact that the liberals are approaching it in this program in the way that they are, a lot of damage. The fact they voted against bail reform when they promised bail reform, like Trudeau promised it before prorogation, it's like almost a year ago. And people are dying as a result. Like these people they're on fire, and not in a good way, right? So there are reasons to be optimistic, and there are reasons to continue to fight. So I've already made up my mind. I'm going to continue to do that. And everybody at the CCFR and the members and the supporters, they've all made up their minds. Gun owners, I think, have made up their minds. I'd like to think that the fight is not over. So anyway, there's still a lot to fight over. We can still delay this program, might even cancel it, right? Might even be an election. And then a lot of these problems just go away pretty quickly. So anyway, just wanted to mention that. There's a lot of reasons to still be optimistic. Anyway, all right, I got to do my duty. If you want to become a member of the CCFR or donate, that'd be great. You can do that at ccfr.ca. If you want to make a small monthly recurring donation, that helps, or donate $20 or more and be part of the insiders group. And basically we have a meeting where you can chat with Wilson and I once a month. Anyway, all that to say, thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you in the next one.